All right, Ira, welcome back. Thank you for making the trip out.
No, yep, no problem.
So last time, this is part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So part 1, we ended, and if you haven't seen part 1, make sure you see part 1 before you watch part 2. We ended with your experience in the hospital and communicating with the being, and I love the story about the nurse. The nurse touching your arm.
The male nurse.
The male nurse, yeah. The male nurse touching your arm.
There were more. I mean, I probably in total talked to maybe 7 people and told them about themselves.
Really?
Oh yeah, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
But what I do remember is talking to them.
Yeah.
But not really remembering the full details because I was kind of like in a distorted state of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if any of them are going to see this video and be like, oh man, that guy, he turned my life upside down that day.
I remember running into one nurse.
Uh-huh.
I think that's she goes, I remember you. She goes, you're the one that weirded everybody out. But it was just really brief.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was just really brief, but that's all I remember, and I haven't seen any of them yet, or besides that one person.
Yeah. Interesting. So then we touched on that, and then your out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
At home after the fact, and seeing the world and the chakras and everything. So I wanna take off from that point because we ended it right at that point, and I didn't get to ask you what was your perception about that out-of-body experience. What did that do to you?
In terms. Oh, how I felt, or what my analysis on it?
Yes.
Well, at first, because I was kind of still on a transition phase into Christianity. I wasn't sure, what is this like? Jesus angel or something. Or
oh yeah, because you were reading the Bible.
I was still. I was leaving the Bible already.
Yeah.
Or using parts of it. In terms of knowledge and whatnot, but I was already like going to the point where I understood that the Bible was like false, because remember I was studying about the Gnostics and all that stuff, right? So
and just for people to not turn, like there may be someone who might watch this who's super religious and who reads the Bible front to back multiple times. That is your perception that the Bible is false. And tell me again what it was about it that you believed was false.
There's just so much. The whole book. Okay, but remember I kept it simple.
Yes.
Okay, and so what I kept simple was there's a lot of contradictions. I started reading a lot of contradictions. So then, when you really just step back from it and really just take the whole picture or the whole perspective of the Bible, you got to see it in its full view.
Yeah.
And when I saw it in its full view, I said, what if I compared, my people to what they're saying in the Bible? And if my writings or my ancestors' writings said that we were the chosen people, well, I would kind of feel like, an individual that is more empowered.
Yes.
And it would be great for my people, because then everybody would look to me. And then remember, everything is energy.
Yes.
So if everybody's giving my people this energy, they're the chosen ones, it will elevate us.
Yeah. But
so
your people. It will elevate
if it was my people, but it's not my people. It happens to be another people that I don't want to say again. Just so I don't seem anti-Semitic.
Totally.
But we already know what it is,
Yeah.
right? So if you give all this energy to people, because everything is energy.
Yes.
Everything is thought process. Everything is will.
Yes.
And what we think, comes outwardly. So if everybody's elevating a certain race of people, they will be elevated. And all I'm saying is that it just seems, like I said before, highly ethnocentric. And
not that there's anything wrong with that group of people. You're just seeing how that they were placed up in the book.
I know Jewish people. I was just one of my really good friends. He's Jewish, and we were working on a film project in this and that. Jewish people in Hollywood, you know how that goes. So anyways, know, but he's a good friend of mine.
Wait, are you anti-Semitic?
No, I'm not. Look.
No. I'm just trying to clarify because I don't want anybody to. I don't want to tread. And when it comes to race and people, I don't ever want to tread that. You're just saying that in the book it brought up these people, and if we are all supposed to be one, that is a contradiction, right?
Yes, like, so what I'm trying to say is like, there's nothing wrong with Jewish people.
Yes. But
They're just being themselves.
Yes.
And you know, just like me, I'm being
Yes.
myself. Okay. But when you have certain writings,
Yes.
you know, either putting people down or elevating them up.
Yes.
All I'm saying is
When we're supposed to all be one.
be aware of that.
Yes.
If I read some writings and like for instance, you know, African Americans, and I read the writings and they're just slaves,
Yeah.
and a terrible historical past,
Yeah.
no success, no victories,
Yeah.
or even Mexican Americans.
Yeah.
You know, if I keep hearing stories about war and riots or this and that, but with no scientific or historical success, then you know the perception is that we're just lower. When in reality, you know, we have inventors. African Americans have inventors, and so these things are starting to come out where people are looking into new information in terms of races and understanding that everyone has success.
Yeah.
And everybody is essentially one.
Yeah.
And we're all one. You know, the Jewish people are beautiful people.
Yeah.
But the problem is that whenever you elevate or bring down, it doesn't fit into the concept that we are all one.
And you're saying that that was a contradiction that you found in the Bible, was that they are putting them up.
They're putting them up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're starting to veer away a little bit from the Bible as you have this out-of-body experience.
Yeah, so that was during that transitionary period where I was, now my feeling, man, that was a big tangent, huh? So the thing is, okay, so I'm now, the way I feel is there's something more than what I was told.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I haven't really put together the whole spiritual picture. When you're a Christian, you kind of tend to think that, how can I tell you this? Again, I'm going to piss some people off, but hey, I'm just going to say it like it is. Look, when I was a Christian, and not just me, this is kind of like an energy of Christian perspective, is that you start to see all your believers, all your kind, because we believe in the blood of Jesus Christ and it saves us from our sins, blah, blah. So then everybody else is right away, you kind of have that perception as like poor lost souls. You know, they're not saved. So if that person that you're looking at is looking, okay, well, that person's not a believer. So then on a subconscious level, once again,
You're already raising yourself.
You're raising yourself above them.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I'm better than you. Even though you're not really consciously saying it.
Yes.
Your energy shifts to feel it.
Yes.
I'm better than this person.
Yes.
Because I am washed away by the blood of Christ, and they're not. And I got my kingdom in heaven, and you're going to heaven. You know? Now, I'm not saying all Christians have this perspective, but it can be a dilemma. So then my feeling at that time was, remember, I felt kind of part of that. I felt part of that, but transforming out of it. And so then when I got this new information, it kind of did make me see that a little bit. It took me to a few inches closer to understand that we're all one, to really perceive the thought process that we are all one. I mean, it's easy to say, but it's very difficult to really, really feel and believe it.
100%.
So it is one of Spirit's life quest, or spirit mind body complex, which is what we are. I think it's one of our spirit quest to achieve this process, which is one of the main reasons why I think we are on planet Earth, or I pretty much know, which is a learning process. It's a learning process, and it's to learn to, one, understand that we're all one, and to learn really one of the most difficult tests on the planet, which is love. And
so I want to pause you right there. I think that I have encountered people in my life who have a difficult time grasping that love aspect. So I want you to define what love is, because it's not romantic love. It's not, relationships with people. It's something else.
Okay, now there is within the American psyche, and not just American, but I want to use American because we're like the creators of so much, or Western civilization. Mm-hmm. Within the psyche of growing up in America, there is that belief system, or that concept that love is in relation to a sexual relationship between two individuals.
Yeah.
So when someone says love, a lot of times this is on auto and this just kicks in. Mm-hmm. Oh, love, yeah, I love my wife. Mm-hmm. Or yeah, no, I love my husband. Mm-hmm. That's first, and then what may come second is, oh, I love my children.
Yes.
Or I love my family, and then so on and so on. But this auto thinking process can be a little bit of a detriment, because what is truly love, from what I've learned, is the service to other people. Mm-hmm. That is the true essence of love. Mm-hmm. Because if you service other people, then it gives more of an action of obviously caring, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, okay, well, I love my wife, mm-hmm. or I love my children.
And because you associate love with love for your wife, love for your children, you're like, well, how am I going to feel that towards other people who are strangers?
That's true. You can. There's a distinction there, and the distinction usually is tied into when you love or love your wife. Mm-hmm. When people tell me that, it's more leaned towards attachment, as opposed to actual love. Mm. Because attachment, first of all, sexual relations create a deeper form of attachment, mm-hmm. Because it gets deeper, but there is an exchange, a blood exchange level. Mm-hmm. So then you create a greater attachment towards that individual. Now, it doesn't necessarily you don't necessarily have to have sex to have this attachment, because people grab attachment to friends and mm-hmm. so forth. But then there's energy exchange. One feeds off the other, maybe, or whatever. Now, these form of attachments can be detrimental to the spirit. Mm-hmm. What is more important is to have the love aspect, or the love, concept, even to your wife or even to your husband, true love aspect, which is not like, what are you doing? Yeah. Where are you going? Because that in essence is control. Yeah. And that's not the essence of love, right?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to look for a basic description of what love is, because people have a hard time distinguishing between the love that they have for people they are attached to. Okay. So how are they to show pure love to others and understand what that looks like? Because their idea of love is their love that comes with attachments. Does that make sense? Okay. So I want to define love, because it is all about love, right? Yeah. In this world, learning having our human experiences, learning the lessons that we're supposed to learn in this life, and learning how to love. So if you were to give someone a crash course that they can take from this as what love is.
Okay. I'll try to,
you said service to others, yes.
It really goes back to service to self, mm-hmm. service to others. Mm-hmm. It's really, really that simple. Mm-hmm. So let me give you an example. Okay. So a couple gets married, they're at home, and 1 year into the relationship, they're arguing, and he's saying, hey, it's I want to do it this way, or I want to watch this channel, or whatever it is. I think it should be done like this. Yeah. I think the room should be redesigned over here. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, I think it should be done this way. So then conflicts start to arise, and this is just a normal behavioral, relationship interaction between two individuals that happens quite often. Yeah. And so then one wants something one way, and the other one wants it the other way. So in reality, what it should be is it should be that, okay, what is it that you want? So then if the female, for instance, says, I'm just going to do whatever you want. So then the guy's like, oh, well, shit.
Well, there's no service to self in that situation.
Well, then she's giving more love in this. Let's say for the whole year, it just goes his way.
Yeah.
So then and he wants different things. She wants different things. But she says to herself, okay, well, I'm just going to let him do whatever he wants, and then it's going to go his way. So she thereby increases her love percentage because it's not so, black and white. There's always that percentage area. So in terms of percentages, she goes up, 60% in the relationship of service to her husband.
Which may end up depleting her.
It can. It can deplete her. Now, in turn, if it does deplete her, she wins in the end anyways. She wins because the more that you do, the more that is given. Does that make sense? Now, we are connected to the source. And if you truly believe in spirituality, you will understand. Now, these concepts are not just biblical concepts. These concepts go way back to the Egyptians, to the Sumerians. They understood, the feather in the heart. So they understood, the understanding that love is energy. And love energy grows the more that it is given. So if you withhold your energy and you contain it within, you're like, I'm only going to give love to whoever I want to. Well, then the source and the creator will hold back as well. Now, this concept is very much understood amongst wealthy people. Okay, so in terms of riches and finances, you can be the most evil. The reason why I do this on evil, because it's all a matter of judgment and perspective.
100%.
I can't say that, certain leaders like Trump or Biden are evil. I can't, because I don't know their path.
Yeah.
I mean, I just know what the TV tells me.
Yeah.
But do I truly know their path? No.
No.
I mean, we only know probably 7%.
Yeah.
Based on what the snippets are on TV.
And those snippets are on purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't know their true path, right? So nevertheless, the evil people that people perceive as evil, these wealthy individuals, they understand the give concept. So they'll give and give and give, and they return. Now this is what a lot of the ancients understood too as the karmic flow, right? So if you give, well, then you're going to get in return. So back to the relationship factor, because they went pretty deep.
Yeah.
Now back to the relationship factor. If now the guy is like, taking, then eventually it will get to the point, where she's going to crack, right? But the man has to understand, okay, man, usually this happens. Usually, hopefully, sometimes it doesn't, but usually it does. Where the individual, the man will say, okay, well, you know what, you keep giving to me. What is it that you want? And now the woman will say, oh, well, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And then the karmic flow continues.
Yeah.
So.
But what does love look like between two individuals that aren't in an attached relationship?
What does love look like? Okay, well, if two individuals are not in an attached relationship, I mean, it can be described in so many ways, but it's a matter of like, we came into this planet with the intent to achieve certain tests or to pass certain tests. And it's all in relation to our past lives. Now, when we came into this planet,
Some people don't believe in past lives.
Oh, okay, well. Yeah, no, I know that, but shoot, I mean, that's another topic. I mean, they're real. I mean, if you even look, even in
Oh, you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I'm not, because I know what you believe.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of if
how do you explain
if
it
there's a
with
Christian watching, because usually it's in a dilemma of a Christian perspective.
100%.
I'm trying to think, maybe even a Muslim perspective.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my theology down. Okay, but there are religions that don't believe in past life.
Yeah.
On the other hand, within the books, there are clues, because remember I was telling you in these councils, these Catholic councils that remove books, that gave this type of information. On the other hand, you can't take everything out. There's still sneaky words within the Bible, for instance, if we use the Bible, where they had questioned John the Baptist. And they said, hey, is it true that you are John the Baptist who was born, who would live before as, man, this is my theology, let me think, Isaiah, who was in a chariot and ascended, who didn't die within the Old Testament? And he's like, yeah, that's me, man. That's me. So then John is saying, he didn't say it that way, but he said, yes, I am the one, John the Baptist, who was born as, or reborn as Isaiah. So he admitted it. Because again, they had to take some of the information out, but they had to leave that one in because it empowered, God, or made Jesus into God. So, past lives are very real. Look, I'll give a...
Well, hold on. Let's stick to the love.
To the love concept.
So two individuals to show love to each other. And you said it's based off of karmic wheel and past lives. And that's when I stopped you and interrupted you.
Okay, so we're trying to figure out,
learn our lessons
and the true intent of why we're here, and what does a real relationship look like. A real relationship looks like less control. The more you control in a relationship, the more you take away from love. So control is the opposition of service. So service versus control. And I gave that example in relation to your children. It is a little bit different because you do have to control your children more than you would have to control your relationship. In terms of a relationship, you really don't have to control unless, your partner is sick and they have a knife and they're trying to kill somebody or something. So, there's all these dilemmas that can occur in terms of where you might want to use control. But the reality is, on a high percentage amount of time, control should be eliminated as much as possible. And that is the true essence of love. Because then, if the person is like, hey, well, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to take off over here for a weekend, or whatever, the reality is, true love dictates that you're not supposed to say anything. But how difficult is that? It's very difficult, because human behavior, a big part of us is control.
So you're going through this out-of-body experience, and you're like, wait a second, there are things that I have not been told. There are things that I didn't know. So what does the process of learning look like after that experience for you? What do you start doing?
Oh, after that? Okay, so let's just say that before
This was 2007, right?
It was 2007.
Okay.
So prior to that, for a large part of my life, again, I have to go back to Christianity. One of the things that was a dilemma with me was judgment. So I would look at individuals and I would judge them and be like, well, that's a bad person. Oh, that's a good person. Oh, he's semi, And I didn't really fully understand the whole we are one concept. So what happened thereafter, when I started to see a little bit more, after the visions that I had, I understood balance. So I understood that. Remember, in the first video, I talked about everything's in twos.
Yes.
I mentioned that in the first video.
Okay.
What I meant by that is like you have fire.
Yes.
And then you have water. You have the sun, you have moon, you have night, you have day, and you have
the duality.
Duality. You have man, you have woman, you have two arms. Okay, so the duality, and then the yin and yang, and the existence of oppositions. And once I understood that, it kind of also made me understand a little bit more about our position on the planet. And that one must suffer sometimes. It just has to happen. Or again, suffering, but it's really a catalyst. And a catalyst is intended to trigger us to see the good, but we haven't seen it, so we get upset at whatever it is. So when I start to see these things, and I start to see people suffering, and so someone is sick, or there's a homeless person, or somebody got into a fight, or whatever the dilemma was, and I was asked for whatever reason, hey Israel, do you have advice on this or whatever? And because I saw the duality now, then I would give a form of advice. Mm-hmm. So if somebody called me up and they got into a fight with their partner or their mate or whatever, I don't know what to do, this and that. And I'm like, okay, well, what happened? Mm-hmm. And then they would be like, well, this and that. I said, okay, observe what happened, because I had mentioned this earlier too. Observe what happened. And try to figure out, first of all, give that situation love. Mm-hmm. Well, how do I do that? Mm-hmm. What do you mean? How do I?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm so mad right now.
Well, first of all, calm down. Yeah. So then what you got to do is, we have chakras. Mm-hmm. These chakras are triggered just through our imagination. Mm-hmm. So our thought process triggers the chakra. Mm-hmm. Not only through our imagination, but through action outwardly on the planet, because the whole planet is a school. Mm-hmm. So if we outwardly complete action, we ignite the chakras in different levels. Mm-hmm. And people are like, well, I'm just going to sit and form my chakras through imagination the whole time. And I'm like, cool, that's great. But then they're stuck in a cave for 1 year, right? So they're by eliminating all tests, you know. Or I'm going to go to the country, I'm gone, this is what I want, because I'm going to be like spiritual. Uh-huh. And then,
but they're not learning their lessons during that time.
In this world, if you are engulfed in a society complex that is more populated, the lessons come faster, mm-hmm. faster. And the ability to get angry is faster. Yes. Those are catalysts.
Yeah.
Angry episodes, horrible situations mm-hmm. are catalysts. Mm-hmm. And they suck. They suck. I mean, someone dies. Yeah. You split up. Yeah. Someone yells at you on the street. Yeah. Whatever it is that you would perceive as negative are catalysts. Mm-hmm. And these catalysts are always intended for your learning. Can we see what these catalysts are? Or can we decipher them? Many times, no. It takes a very strong spiritual understanding to understand these catalysts.
Because you have to observe them without emotion.
Yeah, and how hard is that?
Very.
You know what I mean? So, hey, fuck you, you're driving down the road, what the fuck? And they cut you off, and you're just like, what the fuck is the catalyst of that?
What's the lesson?
And I'm going to tell you right now, there is.
Yeah.
It is so deep that I don't even want to get into it, but let's just say that everything that we experience is not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Every single detail in our life is what spiritualists now understand as synchronicity and or harmony. Mm-hmm. So, as an example, I know we're totally going off tangent.
That's okay.
But as an example, let's use, for instance, you have an appointment at 3:00, mm-hmm. right? And you're like rushing, and this is normal behavior. Everybody's like, you get anxiety all of a sudden. I gotta make it. Yeah. I gotta change the kids. I gotta give them food, or whatever the situation is, right?
Yeah.
So you take off, and nothing's working out. Mm-hmm. You end up leaving it at 2:45, and you know it takes you 30 minutes to get there, so you're gonna be late. So next thing you know, you're just like, you're pissed off, you're angry, and the kids weren't complying.
Oh, it's making me feel anxiety.
Just think
I know what that feels
like. And
like.
then all of a sudden you back out, and then there's traffic, right? Yeah. So then it's even later. You end up showing up at 3:30, mm-hmm. and lo and behold, so is the person you're supposed to meet. Mm-hmm. And this is what is called harmony. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, I couldn't make it. I had these things to do, and and we're like, well, me too. I had all these things, and I showed up late. Well, yeah, but it worked out. Mm-hmm. It worked out fine. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily. It's not necessarily a bad thing when things are not going your way. Mm-hmm. It's meant for you to show up a little bit later. Mm-hmm. probably to avoid, certain death in a crash,
Yeah.
or whatever, I'm just being extreme.
Yeah.
But like, many times you're supposed to be where you're supposed to be at that time for whatever reason. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. That is a harmony experience.
In the moment, it's hard to see what is happening, but taking a moment after the fact and looking back, it's healthy to be like, oh, all those things happened, but this was the person I met out of that experience.
You could have met someone on the way there. You could have took a different turn. And yeah, those are the things that are supposed to happen. Sometimes things go more sour because you just you get caught up in your emotions. And when you get caught up in your emotions, you start taking different routes until you get back on track. So it's important to, yes, catch your emotions. And you're pissed off, you're angry, and you're driving, or as that one example, and you're just like, man, my life sucks. Why can't I just show up on time, and whatever. It's better to just slow down, as difficult as it is, but this is what you should do, and say, you know what, let me give this current present situation love and light, and let me just go with the flow and see what happens. What's the worst that's going to happen, right? If it is a job and you're supposed to be there on time, I can't tell you how many times even then it's still worked out because the boss is late for the interview or whatever. So
Or it's a lesson of time management.
Or time management.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could get into this ceremonial, like, constructed time situation, but I'm just going to tell you that this is very complex spiritual understandings that the more you turn away from the clock and time, understanding of time, the more you will fall into harmony. The more you go into the clock, the time, the more you're going to cause undue stress onto your system.
I have heard many times that time is an illusion, and that humans have been the only ones to create something that does not exist, which is time.
And it's very real.
Our concept of hours, days, years, minutes, seconds.
It is very much ingrained for us to understand that we're supposed to be in this ceremonial type of lifestyle. The opposite of harmony is ceremonies. And I have to brush my teeth at 8 o'clock. I have to do this at 6 o'clock. I have to make dinner. I have to be. So we are formulated in a society construct to be plugged into this time factor. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to 100% jump into the time factor with everything that you have. Again, we go into percentages. So you have to show up at 8 o'clock because you get fired, right? So, you have to clock out and you have to, do all that stuff because the job requires you to for you to keep this job. What I would tell people is to, apart from what you have to do, start not looking at your clock or make an effort to not look at the clock at all. Use your feeling, use your intuition, and use the love aspect of your heart to fall in what is considered harmony. Because if you do that, you will walk and choose a different path. The more we choose a path of ceremonies or this is just what I have to do, the more you become into a robotic state. And if you go into this robotic state, it does eliminate a lot of the love aspect. And if you eliminate the love aspect, you will not achieve the harmonies you're supposed to achieve. Like, you hear these stories where people meet people, they're like, it just changed my life, and this and that. These are love harmonies. So that's what that is about.
It's interesting that clocks are everywhere.
Clocks are everywhere, and we are, we're supposed to be in a system where the car's not supposed to work, because the person that is going to come help you, one, needs to give you advice, or two, you're going to give them advice. And these are the love concepts that we're supposed to, as humanity, share with each other. But the more we put ourselves in ceremonies and a time factor, the more we eliminate these lessons of life and harmonies that we're supposed to achieve, because the grander scale and the greater understanding of our existence, we many times don't see. What we tend to see is the little drop of water, which is you here now, Lucibel, me here now, which is really irrelevant to the big picture of our existence.
Mm-hmm.
So we're here to learn on a grand scale through many lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
And we stop the learning, and the more we stop the learning, the more we actually increase in age as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we tend to be loveless, the more we increase in age. The more we look at the clock, the more we increase in age. And when I say increase in age, I mean we put undue stress onto our body, which ages us faster.
Yes, 100%.
Does that mean? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, it does.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so take me through how your learning process shifts after the out-of-body experience.
So did I not answer the question? God. Okay. Okay. So
You're a vulgar.
I know. I'm going to. Oh my God. Okay. So what have I? Answer the question again. Sorry.
Okay. So after the out-of-body experience,
okay,
you start realizing that you have information that you haven't been told. So before that, you had been finding inconsistencies in the Bible. So you had started to kind of pull back from that anyway, right?
And helping people.
And helping people. And so after the out-of-body experience, how does your learning start to shift?
Okay, so before that, a lot of everything, the information that was attained by my knowledge had to be derived mainly from sources that were extracurricular from the Bible.
Okay.
Now, on the other hand, there were times where I would read historical situations that pertain to it that were not related to it, but still kind of were. But after that...
Well, because in your out-of-body experience, you saw lights on the earth, and then you saw the chakras coming out. But you, at that time, didn't know what chakras were.
I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I dove into chakras. Well, it had to do... Remember, I think I found a book.
Yeah.
I got a book. It was one of my books, and then I said, oh man, I've had this the whole time.
Yeah.
So, all right, let me just read it. So then I read it, and then I was very fascinated with the understanding of the fear and the sacral, with the creativity and the confidence and so forth, and how each one related to an elevation in our understanding. So
and
that's...
break the chakras down really quickly, because there's 7 of them. Root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown.
So when we look at the red chakra, it's about pretty much understanding our identity. Mm-hmm. And understanding our fears.
And that's the root.
And that's the root. That's the red one. That's
yeah.
at the very bottom. Now, if we don't have it fully developed, our fears increase, which is a very basic one. I mean, but it's so difficult to achieve. The second one is the sacral chakra, and the color is orange. And that one pertains more to our creativity and our sexual understanding and connection to other individuals. The third one is our solar plexus, which is yellow. And that one is more in relation to our connection to humanity that we run into, and our confidence as it pertains to our connection with humanity or whoever you run into, right? The fourth one is the heart chakra. And the heart chakra pretty much pertains to how you're going to service other individuals. And then we got the blue chakra, which is your throat chakra. And that one, when you start to achieve these chakras, it's because you're understanding, your fears, you're understanding your identity, you're understanding your society connection, you understand what you mean to serve society, or what does it mean for your place on society. Some people never get to the heart chakra. Really, they don't. They get stuck on the yellow and boom, down. Now, and then the blue is like, how much are you going to tell about yourself?
Speaking your truth.
Like me
Yeah.
telling right now,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I don't know. So my blue's not too fully developed. So how much do you want to say
Yeah.
and tell truths in terms of, so me talking right now, I'm using the blue chakra.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we got the third eye. And with the third eye, it is your connection to spirituality and your connection to see and decipher. So if you see some information, for instance, the news, and if your third eye is developed, you're just like, they're telling me something, but what are they really telling me?
100%.
Right? Okay, so then you start to see behind certain lies.
Or what is the purpose of what they're telling me in the way that they are telling me?
Yeah, there's usually an agenda.
Yeah.
You know? So, and then, not all the time, sometimes, there's a cat stuck on a tree.
Yeah.
So it's like, but even then there might be an agenda, right? You never know. And then you got your crown chakra, and in the crown chakra, we're looking at your connection to all humanity. And that's when you truly start to see that you are one. If the crown chakra is developed, but let's not even go there because it's like very rare.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it is very difficult for people to see that we're all one. But the crown chakra does, once you have it developed, not only will you see that we are one, but all beings throughout the galaxy that do exist, all of us are one, including the evil ones.
Yes.
So, that's all. Those are the chakras.
Yes. Thank you. So after your out-of-body experience, you start learning about all this.
So I start learning about the chakras, and I guess once I learned about fully the chakras, and then I understood more the duality aspect of our existence, and then I made effort to really see that every individual is one. So then I would do work where I knew that if I was helping a person, then I knew that if I helped them, then in reality I was kind of like helping myself. Because when I see a person, I see the Creator. And now think about that person. Think about that. So I see you, Lucibel. You are the Creator. Okay, so I see you as the Creator.
Okay.
And if I see you as the Creator, then how do I hold you? Do I deem you lower? No, I hold you up here. So it's easy.
Along with yourself, equal to yourself.
If I look into a mirror, which is what I would tend to do, and I knew and I understood, well, that's the Creator. And this concept can seem egotistical, but if
You're holding everyone
but
to that.
but everybody's.
Yep.
So if I look at a homeless person, I'm like, look at the Creator. Why is the Creator expressing himself on the floor, starving or drug-induced or whatever? Why? How can I help the Creator? How can I get the Creator out of its situation? So that is a perception that is how I started to kind of see, the world or the concept of the world. So why or how did I change, and why did I change? And that's mainly one of the reasons, I guess you could say, why I changed. And so then if I did service to an individual, in reality I was just helping the Creator. So that's how I seen it.
Okay. So then what does your personal practice look like at that point? Because we went from not eating for 2 weeks and being fed by the sun.
Yeah, I know, I remember that.
Yeah.
No, that was rough.
Yeah. So how do you start, what does your learning process look like, and what is the balance like? Because we can't be fed by the sun always.
Not always.
Yeah.
Now I know that it's just, you got to do it, but just not as much. Not the way I was doing
Yes.
it. Yeah.
So what are you doing at this point now? It's 2007, 2008. What does your practice look like?
Oh, okay. Okay, what am I doing in terms of, let me think, what was I? I'm trying to figure out where I was working in 2000s. Oh, at this time I was a real estate agent. I've done so many jobs.
Yeah.
Fuck, okay, you thought I did a lot of things outside, like my fighting and all that
Yeah.
other stuff and
Yeah.
going out or whatever. But I always worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked so many jobs. Okay.
Yeah.
Real estate agent was one of them.
Let me make it clear. I'm trying to get to the alien right now.
Okay. I don't know where you're going. I don't know. Because see, okay, you were asking about my life. And I was like, okay, so now we're going towards the aliens. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you have your experience 2007. You're working as a real estate agent. You open Club X. When did you open Club X?
I think it was 2008.
Okay.
Shortly after my recovery.
Okay. So Club X starts, and tell people, I mean, I know a lot of people who know what Club X is.
Okay, so Club X, so while I was a real estate agent, I acquired some money through real estate. And then I was like, well, I don't really like real estate. I mean, you can make a lot of money in real estate, which is cool, you know, if that's what people want to do.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, I guess I didn't care about money that much.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, let me use the money that I got to open up a gym, right? So then me and some other friends, we opened up a gym. And then I was like, well, this is fun. It doesn't feel like I'm working.
Yeah.
You know? I would still get money, but not like in real estate.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, well, then I can't take lavish vacations, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But at least I'm not working.
Yeah.
That was my philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm not working, so then do I even need a vacation?
Yeah.
No, and it got to the point, Isabel, where it was like, I don't even want a vacation.
Yeah.
Why? I want to go to work.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to train people, to help people, even though I wasn't making a huge amount of money. I just said, it feels nice, and hey, I mean, I would work. Man, there were times where I would work in this fitness arena, or life coaching, as I called it, to 12 hours, and it really would feel like 4.
100%.
Now, so during this time, Club X was a gym, or is a gym. It's a boxing gym, but then I incorporated, one of the first things I incorporated was a Zumba instructor. So I said, hey, you know, people should have the ability to do whatever they wanted in a gym. So I started incorporating hip hop and kickboxing and all these other things. So that was the essence of Club X.
Yes.
At the time.
So I started in 2010, and that's when I had seen your ad on Craigslist, and my certification wasn't until like a month or 2 after, and you were like, can you come today?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. So I did, and we did the demo. And so that was like a Tuesday or a Thursday. Demo class was on Saturday, and you're like, all right, let's start teaching. I was like, okay. And so that, it was like, I was probably with you guys for like a year and a half.
I think you were about a year and a half.
It was like February of 2010 to like June of 2011.
Shit, you got a good memory. I don't remember.
Well, I can only, because I opened my own place. It was like July 2011. So that's the only reason why I know chronologically. But that year and a half was a really bright time for me, because being around you, being around your family, being around Mary, being around your kids, being around your sisters, all your cousins coming in, like, it felt like family at Club X. It was amazing. And I remember, like I mentioned it before, you would plant little seeds in my head, you know? If there was someone who really wanted to come to your class and couldn't, you let them go to your class. Or couldn't afford it, you let them come to your class. Word of mouth, super powerful, because the energy transference from the person who's totally stoked to their friend, that friend walks in and they're already stoked about a class that they haven't taken yet. So just little things like that. And then a little bit deeper, like you went to the UFO viewing that night, and I was like, UFOs, okay, I get it. And then
I remember your face. You were like, what?
Yeah.
It's squinty eyes. Like,
squinty eyes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, But I was processing it. And the time that you were like, sometimes I could look at someone and know exactly what they need. And I'd be like, again, squinty eyes, okay.
This guy's true.
Yeah. But these were all legitimate seeds that I started to understand later. Mm-hmm. Right? And just your ability to, like, after hanging out with you, I felt pumped. Like, just like, your energy was so positive that anytime I ever hung out with you, I felt good, right? I still do. Like, it's an automatic energy transference.
You feel it now. She's like, I'm ready to start dancing.
So it was devastating to me when we broke off, because, you know, you guys had to leave the location because of the crazy futon lady.
Oh, that's right. Oh, the drama that happened. We won't tell you what happened. It was so dramatic with that lady.
She was intense.
She was. But she's been there for so long, you know. And so...
Totally. In retrospect, I get it now.
Yeah, you get it, yeah.
In the moment...
And I was trying to make you understand.
I know! Oh, God! I'll fucking fight her!
Oh, my God, I was like... damn, the other Lucifield's coming out.
Well, I don't know if you were there that day, but I'm in the middle of Zumba, and when you teach Zumba, you have to do Zumba in front of the class, and you have to not stop, or else the class stops, right?
Yeah.
She walks in and stands in front of me, in my face,
as
I'm doing Zumba. She stands in front of my face. There's 20, 30 people in the class, right? And she's like, you need to turn your music down and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like dancing, like I can't stop. We're in the middle of a song, right? And I was like, would you like to join us? And she's like, you need to turn the music down, blah. I was like, get out of here. And she's like, you need to turn the music down, blah. And I was like, get out of here. She's like, you need to turn the music up. I was like, get the fuck out of here. And she goes, and then leaves.
Did you scare her? You probably scared her that way. Yeah.
Dude, well, she wouldn't leave.
She would leave, yeah.
So anyway, Club X has to go. Plus, that one gentleman was working at Club X that I didn't trust. Anthony.
Oh yeah.
Me and him.
That's right. There was a clash from the beginning with that guy. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah, well, because, anyways. So that's when and you guys were moving downtown, and it was right before the mall was going to start charging for parking.
Yeah.
And you were like, we're going to go downtown, you should come, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, downtown's going to start charging for parking, blah, blah, blah. And for me, I just felt like I needed to do my own thing at that point, because I was going to clash with Anthony. I didn't want to create any drama for you guys. And so I decided to look at the space across the street. Now, there were some harsh words exchanged between us a couple times.
Me and you?
Dude!
I don't remember.
Hold on, let me use an example.
Okay. I do remember this, though, before you said it. Anthony was on my ear.
Yeah.
You knew that.
Yeah.
And then
that's why I was so mad.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay, this guy.
Yeah.
Did you know this? Did you know that? I was like, no, let me find out. Well, tell me. I don't remember. I really don't remember that.
So, towards the end, you were bringing in girls to audition during my class time.
Oh, yeah.
That broke.
Not my idea.
Whose idea was it? Okay. I figured. So see, that's why I knew there was going to be a clash from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Because it just. So anyway. Then one of the other coaches had messaged me and was like, hey, if you open your new spot, is there a chance that I can go with you? And I was like, yeah, totally, blah, blah, blah. And then that coach turned to you and told you that I reached out to him.
Oh.
And I was really mad about that, and I was trying to explain it to you, and you were like, Lucibel, I'm so mad at you. You're lucky I don't get some chick to come over here and kick your ass.
Did I say
You
that?
said that to me.
Well, there's a learning. I don't remember the. See, that's the cool thing is that.
The cool thing.
No, the cool thing is like I don't remember the negatives.
Yeah.
I don't.
Is that spiritual bypass?
It could be, but yeah, because it could be if I don't really figure those things out or remember these
Yeah.
things,
Uh-huh.
yeah, then you can't settle the conflicts.
Yeah.
And then people are still mad at you.
Yeah.
And then they're continuously for the rest of their life sending you bad energy.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, why do I keep falling down the stairs?
Yeah.
and that's a problem of mine.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I'm on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And one of my learning lessons is that.
Yeah.
Because I will say something to somebody.
Uh-huh.
And then not even realizing that it's been 10 years and they're still mad at me. And
I'm not mad.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but I'm giving you an example.
Yes.
So then what would happen is, you know, 10 years later, I'm like, what up? Hey, what up, dude? What are you doing? And they're just like, fuck you. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, why does that person not like me? What did I do to them?
Yeah.
And I really, and I swear to you, I genuinely forget the negatives.
Yeah.
And it is so difficult for me to try to remember these negatives.
Yeah.
And I should.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me too.
Yeah.
So then when I think of people, I kind of think of the good times.
Yeah.
But I have to balance out to remember, did I make this person upset or not? See, like, I swear to you, I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot. And who knows about my other, like, workers or coaches or whatever that I pissed
100%.
off. And I don't even know.
100%. Yeah. So anyway, so that like really hurt me. And I was like, oh man. So then leaving, you know, there was still that conflict, like, you know, things being said about each other, but I tried to really disconnect. But do you know, during the beginning, I was in the middle of one of my classes at my new location, and that one coach who was in your ear shows up with 3 or 4 other people and just stands at my front door like this. And I was like, I looked over and Chris was in class. I was like, Chris, take over for me. So she took over on stage and I walked to the front. I was like, what's up, dude? Like, what's going on? Oh, you know, we're just trying to see how you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so you show up with 4 fucking people? Like, what are you going to do? Fucking jump me? I'm in the middle.
Jump a bunch of girls?
Yeah. I mean, I know that's your wet dream.
Oh my god.
Just fucking plowing through girls.
Oh my god.
So,
oh my god, I hope he doesn't watch this video.
Fucking let him watch it. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Oh my god.
No. But anyway, so that passes. We break. And it was like three years after that. And I had been able to kind of let go of my emotions about it, but I still felt like there was a hole in my heart from that whole thing. Because you guys literally felt like family. Not blood family, but like energetic family, you know? Like we just worked well together. I mean, I thought so. And I felt like so empowered in that environment. So I have Roman, he's like 4 or 6 months, and I, probably like 4 months because I had him in the carrier and everything. And I'm at home and I look out the window and I was like, oh shit, Ira and Mary are here. And I was like, and we hadn't spoken since then, since 2011. And I was like, this is weird. All right, you guys show up to the house. I'm like, come in. And you guys are talking. I think you had just come back from Shasta. So you were sharing some, you know,
spiritual experiences.
You were like, we
could get into those Shasta stories.
We will. But you were like, we were fucking hiking, and this beep came out, and, you know, loss of time, all of a sudden we're back in our camp, and I was like, okay. Like, all right.
It was a trip.
So then you guys start talking about
aliens.
You know, or, well, not yet. No, you didn't tell me about aliens at all. So you were like, you know, we're sorry about how things ended up between us. And it was basically an apology. But I remember you said, we were told you needed this. And I was like, we were told? Who the fuck told you? But whatever, I'll take it. You know? Like, I needed that. I needed... Like, there was that little hole that was still left in my heart from everything. And it's funny because it's like, it mended itself in that moment. And I was like, wow, yeah, I guess I did need that. You know, it felt so good to have you guys show up and say sorry. Well,
Damn,
you know.
so he was right.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
Which is what I wanted to do. So, you know, that felt really good. But that was a catalyst for me. For me, that showed me, and in retrospect, I can see that now, it showed me how to apologize to others. After that, I was still, you know, I still made people mad. I still, you know, messed up, you know, working relationships with people, but I still, in my mind, felt like I made the attempt to make it better because you taught me how to do that.
To make what better?
To whatever.
Our relation?
Well, so anytime I had a conflict with someone,
oh, I see.
I tried to make it better.
Oh, because Because
I remember how good I felt when you guys showed up and mended things with me.
Yeah.
That I wanted to make sure I did that for others.
Got it.
So like that was like I said, a turning point for me to take responsibility for my own actions and then move forward and try to mend things with people. So it helped.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So.
So we last left off.
Yeah.
On Lucibelle's therapy session.
You're welcome.
So tell us how you really feel.
I know. Shall I? Okay. So what that did to me was huge, right? So I made sure I tried to mend as many fences as I could after that point because I remember how good I felt. So it wasn't until like a year ago, maybe now a year and a half, you called me up and you're like, hey, I have a friend who is recording a music video and we need a place with hardwood floors.
Oh, that's okay, that's the Jewish guy.
Yeah. See, I'm not anti-Semitic.
See, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, we've been as a matter of fact, he's the guy that I started my very first gym with. So he got an inheritance from his Hollywood, some famous people, rich people, and they gave him this company. So then he's like, hey, Israel, I got this company. I go, but I don't want to say too much. But anyways, the company is struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
He's all, I want to resurface it, make it powerful again, make it what it once was, because his uncles own this company.
Yeah.
And I said, sure, I'll help you. Why not? Me, I'm just like, whatever, I'll help you. So we did all kinds of stuff, but during that time that we were shooting all kinds of stuff, we did we were working on a movie and everything. It was cool. But other stuff happened, and then the Rona and all that stuff. But
the Rona.
the Rona happened, slowed everything down.
Yeah.
They took his cameras away, everything.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was bad.
Poor guy.
So anyways, during that time, that's when he wanted to shoot a music video for somebody in England. And so he goes, do you know of a dance studio? I go, I can think of just the right person. And that's when I contacted you.
Yes. So you contacted me. I was like, yeah, totally. Come over, check it out. And then we were talking. You came over in person. It was after my classes one time. And we start talking. And it felt really good to talk to you again, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, Ira, when you and Mary came over and we mended fences, I was like, what did you mean by we were told you needed this?
Oh, that's what you. You tricked me.
No, God.
No, because I think when I went to your house, I didn't want to tell you.
Oh, yes.
It's too weird.
I wouldn't have been open to it either.
No.
Well, I would have been open to it, but I wouldn't have taken it all in like I did when you finally told me. So you came in and you were like, so then I asked you, I was like, what did you mean by we were told you needed this?
You did say that. You asked me that.
I asked you that, yeah.
At the gym.
And you were like, do you really want to know?
Did I say that? Okay.
You did. And
what did I say? I don't know.
You said that and I want you to put it in your words. That's when you told me about the alien.
No, but you tell me. What did I say?
You told me that you were in contact with an alien for a couple months, and that the alien was giving you all kinds of knowledge and information, but that the alien also told you that you had to mend fences with a few specific people.
Okay, let's pause for a second.
Okay.
Everyone just push stop on the fucking This is way out of my. This is weird. I'm stopping this fucking thing. Stop.
What?
No. Either hey, I want to what?
Yeah.
Or nope.
Yeah.
Motherfucker's crazy. No,
Okay.
sorry.
So hear us out. Okay. So this is Ira's experience. Okay. I was just glad that I got to mend fences. But so take us through that. That's exactly where this whole thing is leading up to.
No, I want to tell a story.
Okay. Okay.
I'll tell a story. Okay, so. Well, maybe I'll tell it because it relates a little bit
Okay.
to that. Okay, so I got a message to go to Mount Shasta.
Uh-huh.
I got a message that said, "Hey, Israel, I want you to go to Mount Shasta."
Wait. Text message or message?
Message.
Okay.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of a jerk, even to the spirit world, which I shouldn't be sometimes. But
It's healthy.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
But they look at me like, dude, love, like, and I'm like, okay, why? And then they're like, because you'll know why. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. But and then I think back about the harmony factor and the synchronicity and so forth. So then I end up going to Shasta.
Wait, pause. There is a council that you are connecting with now?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes, and you know what? Let's not get into that.
I want to know everything.
Okay, no, look. Let's just say, okay, we live in densities, right?
Yes.
Okay. First density, second density, third, fourth, fifth, and people call these dimensions. But dimensions are really parallel universes, which is a whole other thing that we can talk about another time. But let's stick to densities.
Okay.
So now, everything is frequency, everything is energy. If an animal is in second density and or a tree, then a human's more like in a third density. Okay. A fourth density individual is still, there's a lot of humans on the planet that are pretty much into a fourth density or crossing into a very strong fourth density existence. Now, there's also beings on the planet that are of a fifth density. Now, beings that are of a fourth density, sometimes we can't see them.
Okay.
I know this sounds weird.
No, just get it out.
But okay,
Yeah.
but I can't because people don't understand, and then they're gonna just get like they're gonna get lost.
Okay.
So I'm trying to make certain people understand.
Okay.
So because there are humans on fourth density on the planet, but they cross over on a higher level of that fourth density. So because there's transitions, third to fourth, fourth to fifth, full third, full fourth. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Now, beings on the planet that are at fourth or at a higher fourth, or 4.5 to fifth, we usually don't see them, but they tend to try to communicate with us, and they can be walking among us, and we won't even know because their frequency is so high.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if they want you to see, you can see them. If they want to exist through the power of their own existence, or spirit, mind, body, power of their mind, whatever you want to call it, they can do it. Okay. Now, if I could give you an understanding of what that means, imagine a fish tank, okay, a second density fish, and the whole time you can see them, but they can't see you. Until you stick your hand in, and then all of a sudden they freak out, right? Or maybe if you put your hand on the fish tank, then all of a sudden they freak out. So, but really, they can't really fully grasp the knowledge that you're even there, like controlling them.
Yeah.
So this is what is likened to these higher density beings. And if they want to communicate with you, then they'll communicate with you or make themselves known to your presence. So I was going to tell you a story about Mount Shasta. I think that's where and then I went off tangent.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
because the wording you used was, again, you and your wording, they told me to go to Mount Shasta.
Okay.
I got a message.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so I got a message to go to Mount Shasta.
And are you receiving messages regularly at this point?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
At this point, which is between the year, let's just say that it was highly active, extremely highly active between 2011 and 2012.
Okay.
So it was really intense. Really, really intense.
And you're getting messages.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, but they stopped.
Uh-huh.
They stopped after 2012.
When
What-
the world ended.
Well, they never said that.
Yeah.
But then, you know what? At one time, they had told me this. One of them told me this. I don't even know if it's he.
Yeah.
Okay, but the voices,
Yeah.
you know, like bass.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Which is the same voice that you heard on your out-of-body experience.
high possibility.
Yeah. Or similar.
Wasn't clarified
Uh-huh.
if it was or not, but high probability.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. I guess when you're in that scenario, you're not, hey, was that you? You know, the other day, because you're just like in awe.
Yeah.
You're in shock, right? Because
100%.
it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
right? So, okay, so I already forgot what I was going to say.
Messages.
The messages. Okay,
Yeah.
so this being. Let's just go back to Shasta. I mean, I was going to go. So I'm told to go to Shasta, right?
Okay.
And I'll tell you a story that happened. Okay, so I ended up going to Shasta, and I'm in Harmony, right?
By yourself?
No, it's me, Mary,
Uh-huh.
Faith, and Elias.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we stop off this like little.
Hold on. How does that conversation go? Mary, Faith, Elias, we're going to fucking Shasta.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dad's being weird again.
Yeah.
Dad's a weirdo. Let's go through one of his weird, episodes. Okay, let's go. And so there they come, and they're used to it.
Yeah.
They know I'm fucking weird.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Shasta, right? And then I said, I'm gonna stop at this hole mall, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I'm in Harmony, right?
Yeah.
They told me to go in Harmony. I'm fucking in Harmony, right? So here I am in Harmony, right?
Uh-huh.
And I go to this hole in the wall, and there's nobody in there except for 3 ladies, and the place is completely dead. So us 4 and 3 ladies,
Uh-huh.
and the 3 ladies are just staring at me and staring at the fam, right? They're just like, staring at us, and no matter where we go, as we're trying to find our table, they're just all 3 turn their heads like. I'm like, I thought I was weird, right? Maybe I'm linking into weird people like me, right? So they're just staring at me like no matter what we do.
Yeah.
And we order our food and we sit down. And while we order our food, they're across from us and they're hardly moving. They're just staring at us. And keep in mind, they're all wearing shades,
Oh, okay.
which makes it even
Fucking weird.
It's even a more weirder experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they're all wearing shades, looking at us. 2 white women, and then one in the center was like native Hawaiian, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Not that makes a difference, but
Yeah.
it kind of does later. Now, they're staring at us, and so I said, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't know, the center lady keeps looking at us, and the other 2 ladies look at her, and then they look at us like, should we answer or whatever? So then the center lady says, we're doing good, or whatever, and she starts talking. But it almost looked like the center lady was the leader, some native shaman type leader. That comes out later. And she goes, she goes, hey, I really like your family, and this and that. I was like, oh, thank you, you know, whatever.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
They're like it, thanks. And then she goes, why are you here? And I'm like, oh, I'm getting something to eat. She goes, well, yeah, but why are you here? And I go, where? Like Mount Shasta? I was like, oh shit, this is getting weird. And then I go, oh, well, let me tell you my story. So I go, well, first of all, okay, so I got this communication. And she's like, I saw this UFO. I was with Ed Grimsley.
Yeah.
There's prior experiences. I saw more UFOs
Yeah.
that I didn't mention.
Yeah.
Like when I was at Club X.
Yeah.
I kept seeing UFOs after Ed Grimsley.
How do you see them?
Okay, should I rewind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
no, I could keep us on track. Finish the ladies.
Okay,
and then we'll go back.
And then we'll go back. So I told her.
But then you're avoiding the alien.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No, we're gonna get there.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna get there. Okay. Okay, so then, anyways, she says to me, she's like, wait a minute. Are you telling me that you see all these UFOs all the time? I'm like, yeah, I see them all the time. It's not a big deal. Yeah, we're tight, man. We're cool. And she's like freaking out.
Yeah.
She's like Miss Secret State, right?
Yeah.
She's like
Yeah.
looking over her shoulders, and I'm like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And she goes, don't say the word UFO very loud.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Don't say the word.
the word UFO very loud.
Yeah.
She's like, she goes, you're talking about aliens. You're just too open.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
I go, what's the problem? She goes, come outside with me. And I was like, here we go again. And then I go, hey, Mary, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
She's like, she said, where are you going? I said, I'm going outside. I'll be right back.
I would love to hear Mary's perspective on all of this.
She'll tell you.
Yeah.
So then I go outside, right? And then now the two ladies, and then Mary, and everybody, they're all staring at each other. There's nobody else in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And so then me and this other lady are outside. And the lady opens up her trunk,
Uh-huh.
and she has this briefcase about this big.
Uh-huh.
Why is it that big? I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
But it's like a leather briefcase, huge, you know? And she goes, what I'm about to show you. She goes, you can't tell anybody. She got a liking to me. We obviously talked for a little bit longer
Yeah.
for her to get this trust.
Yeah.
So we were out there for like maybe 20 or 30 minutes
Yeah.
or whatever. She's telling me, you got to keep it a secret. You can't see these things. You know, this is Mount Shasta. There's a lot of UFO activity. People end up going missing and blah, 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 blah. I said, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm being serious. You can't talk about this stuff.
Uh-huh.
She goes, you've heard of the Men in Black? And I was like, I saw that movie. I saw that movie. That was a good movie. Right? And she's like, no, they're real. They're real. So she's freaked out with their shades on, right? She's freaked out.
Yeah.
And she pulls out her identification
Uh-huh.
for like maybe some sort of validation
Yeah.
for me to give her credibility.
Yeah.
And she goes, you see this? And I was like, and it said Ancient Aliens on it from the Discovery Channel.
Mm.
And I said, what? You work for Ancient? I love that show! You work for Ancient Aliens? And she goes, I don't work. You will never see me on the show. She goes, I'm the background person.
Yeah.
She goes, I go hunting for information.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, and then I give it back to the producers.
Mm-hmm.
And when I give it to the producers, then they come in and they send another team.
Yeah.
And then the process continues
Yeah.
of how. And I go, well, then if it's on TV, it's all
Yeah.
over. She goes, well, yeah, but the TV show
Uh-huh.
always gives only a certain amount of information.
Mm-hmm.
People, everybody on the team, we all know the deal.
Yeah.
But we have to give only a certain amount to the public.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so then you know the real deal.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh yeah, that's the briefcase.
Okay.
And I said, what's in the briefcase?
Killing
she goes, well, I'm about to show you. I was like, all right, come on.
Yeah.
I already talked to them, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever, show me. And then she pulls out a picture,
Uh-huh.
And it's just a gray alien.
Yeah.
And it's like a close-up picture.
Yeah.
And with his face and everything. And I was like, well, that's your common gray.
Yeah.
I go, well, I mean, I could find that on the internet.
Yeah.
She goes, I took that picture. And I was like,
Oh, snap.
don't really?
She gets some street cred right now.
Yeah, and then I don't know if she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what she showed. I'm telling you my
Totally.
experience.
Totally.
And it looked real.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I said, wow, a gray alien, right?
Yeah.
These days it could be digitally
Totally.
made or whatever, But it looked real.
Mm-hmm.
And I believed her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she pulls out another picture and you see 3 humans.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have 2 women and a man.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, humans.
Mm-hmm.
I go, and it was in Shasta, so you could see the background. And stuff.
Uh-huh.
But it was like in the mountain area.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, 3 humans. You took a picture of 3 humans. First you showed me a gray, then you showed me 3 humans. She goes, they're not human. She says, oh, they're from another planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, no, get out of here.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, nah, you're messing with me. So then she pulls out the next picture and she goes, and then you see their feet are gone. And I'm like, well, what happened to the feet?
Yeah.
And she goes, let me show you the next picture. Next picture. And then the legs are gone.
Because they're disappearing.
They're dematerializing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it looked weird. It did. I mean, I guess you could digitally made it, but I don't know. I believed her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the coolest pics I had seen in terms of dematerializing. I said, so what? I go, these humanoids dematerialized in front of you to show you? She goes, yeah, so that I can go back to ancient aliens and tell them this.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, she was saying that the ancient alien show won't show these things or won't tell these things.
Because it's too much for the...
Everything has to be analytical.
Yeah.
Everything.